Hey guys, welcome to the Whiskey Warehouse podcast. I'm Nick. Dylan is absent today. He's a busy guy, so it'll just be me today. Miss you, buddy. Wish you could join us or join me. So, in today's podcast, I'm going to be discussing what it's like to be a bourbon hunter in Georgia and also be covering my family trip to Georgia. So, every year, my family gets together and takes a yearly trip, about a week, to somewhere usually close to the water. That's typically Michigan because we have family up there as well. Last year we went to Traverse City. We've been to Ludington, Kalamazoo, a lot of other places up there. It's just a good time. I have 3 siblings, my 2 brothers and sister, and their spouses go up there too, along with me, my wife, my parents, all that. Usually stay about a week, have a good time. This year, we decided to go somewhere different, go down south. So we decided to go to Lake Lanier, which is in Georgia, about somewhere northeast of Atlanta. So I'm going to discuss our trip. Me and my wife drove separately, and then our bourbon finds along the way. So we left I think we left the 7th. Me and my wife did. So we left, we drove down there. It's about a 7-hour drive. We took several stops because we drove through Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia. So we drove about 2 hours and we stopped by this place called the Liquor Barn, which is this huge liquor store in Kentucky. There's several of them, but we stopped by the one in Lexington because it was on the way. We just take 75 all the way down there, and we're pretty much at our destination. So we stopped by Lexington. Liquor Barn was a huge store. I'd compare it to like a Party Source or a Total Wine, something like that. I found a couple bottles that we took home, some store picks of Rebel Cask Strength and Ezra Brooks Cask Strength. Also, a couple bottles that aren't available in Cincinnati, like Flatboat. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I haven't really heard about it either until one of our viewers on YouTube commented saying that's his go-to bourbon. So I decided to pick it up. It was about $15-20, kind of a budgeter, I think. So we picked up some bottles there. I think that's all I got from that store. We were in there for quite a while. Huge store. We were also looking for some souvenirs. My wife and I are really big into souvenirs everywhere we go, especially magnets. We like to display them on our fridge. So after that, we drove a little ways. I think our next stop was Knoxville to get some souvenirs as well as finding some bourbons. And if you want to see what all we got on our week-long trip, I posted the 15 plus bottles I got on our trip on Instagram at Whiskey Warehouse, so you can check that out. Because I'm a little fuzzy on all the details, but we stopped by this little liquor store called McScrooge's in Knoxville, along with another store. I can't remember the name, but we did find a Australian whiskey, which I've never had before. And I don't know if you've been to Tennessee or if you're around Tennessee area, but some liquor stores down there, you can try it before you buy it, which I think they should implement throughout the whole United States. But sadly, Tennessee is the only state I know of where that's the case. So we picked that up. He was trying to convince us to buy the more expensive bottle. There are 3 different expressions of the typical Australian whiskey. I can't remember what it's called. But the weird thing is each bottle was 1 proof more than the other. So there's an 80 proof, 81, 82, and 83. So I just decided to get the 80 proof because it was the cheapest at like, I don't know, $50. And the 83 proof was like fucking $80. So it'd be stupid to get the more expensive one, even though it was very good. And I also picked up a Canadian whiskey there. Can't remember what it was called. Pendleton. I don't know if you've heard of this. We've been talking about this on the podcast. Tilton is stopping their distribution to Ohio. So I found a 90 proof version of it. So I went and picked that up fairly cheap, around 20, 25 bucks. It's called Pendleton Midnight, I believe. And then from there on, Sarah found another liquor store. These are all Sarah's finds, my wife. Found another liquor store called McScrooge's, which is this smaller liquor store with a humongous selection. Lots of store picks. That's where I picked up the Rebel Distillers Collection that we reviewed on the channel that we loved. Dylan has a bottle of that, but that one is a store pick from Ohio Liquor, and this one's from McScrooge's. So they probably differ a little bit, but for the most part, I did try it when I was down there. It was very good, but it being 90 plus degrees while in Georgia, it hit very hot. But I'll get to that momentarily. So here's where we hit our big find. My wife and I were looking around. I was talking to one of the liquor store employees about this green label Jack Daniels, which I've never heard of. It looked just like the regular black label Jack Daniels number 7, except it didn't have number 7 on it. It was a jadish green label. It wasn't the apple flavored or green apple flavored, and it wasn't the rye. So I asked the store employee about it. He didn't really know much about it either. He did some research online saying it was just a younger age Jack Daniels. So Jack Daniels is about 4 years. He said this one's about 2.5, 3 years. So I decided to pass on it because I'm not a huge Jack Daniels fan. Just Tennessee whiskey in general. I love bourbon. I just don't really go out of my way to buy Tennessee whiskey unless I know it's good or if it's really sought after. One of the ones that come to mind is Uncle Nearest. That's a really good one. They sent us a bottle. Probably my favorite Tennessee whiskey so far. Anyway, so I'm talking to the employee, and my wife calls me over while I'm still talking to him and holds up a bottle to me. It's a short bottle, clear with a blue top and a moose on it. And I look at her with my eyes open. My floor kind of drops to the ground, and I notice it's Caribou Crossing, also known as the Canadian Blantons. It's made by the same company that owns Buffalo Trace, Sazerac. So I imagine it's similar to Blanton's maybe. The only difference is that it's Canadian. I don't know the story behind it because if I had to guess, it's probably barreled in Canada, maybe shipped to Buffalo Trace to bottle it maybe. I'll get to that later because, it all connects. You'll see. So she holds up the bottle and she's like, "Hey, look at this cute bottle. It's got a moose on it." My wife's very cute. She loves animals. And she found this bottle actually hiding behind other bottles behind, on a shelf. And she's like, "Look, there's a cute little moose on it. I want it." And I'm like, "Hold on." I put my finger up. Hold on. And I finished my conversation with the employee. And then I walk over. I'm like, "That's Canadian Blantons." And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Great find." She's got like really good luck. So I kind of had a feeling because she's like, "This place looks good." And when she's looking on the maps for liquor stores, and there you have it. She found probably the rarest bottle we found all week. So we buy it. Great price, MSRP at $50. Take it, post it on Instagram, all that crap. And we make our way down to Georgia. I don't think we stopped anywhere else. So we arrived there pretty late. I think it was like 9, 10 o'clock. Granted, we left around 9 in the morning. That's no problem. We kind of took our time getting down there. Kind of want to explore a little bit, places we've never been to. So we arrived there, have a night's sleep, all that. And then during that time down there, we do some boating, some fishing, some golfing, stuff like that, random bourbon hunting while we're down there. And one thing I did notice is that Kentucky's really bad for this, but Georgia not as much. It's not an allocated state, so they can charge as much as they want down there. versus Ohio, where they have to charge MSRP to what the distillery sets the price at. But the prices down there were still pretty decent. I think the worst situation or the worst example I could think of was when we were like the day before we left, ran into this liquor store, wasn't even on the maps. I just saw a little bottle shop, and we stopped by, and right when we ran in, the guy was yelling, and he was a gentleman of, I think he was Middle Eastern or something like that, and he was on the phone talking to someone. Kind of scared us when we walked in. He was just yelling, and we were looking around, didn't find much, but we did find this bottle of bourbon that we've been looking for, because we were wanting to go to a local distillery down there in Gainesville. I can't remember the name of it, but we wanted to take a tour of it, but we just didn't get around to it because, man, we were doing a bunch of stuff down there. But we did find it. We picked it up. It was about $35, pretty good deal. And he actually let us try a sample of it, which I didn't know you could do in Georgia. Might have been illegal what he did. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you Georgia residents can kind of enlighten me on that. I don't know the liquor laws down there, but bought that, and then I noticed a tan yellow tube on the shelf, and it was E.H. Taylor small batch. There are 2 bottles of it, and I was like, oh, I've been looking for that because I donated one of my full bottles to a golf outing for a friend of ours. So I don't have any at the moment. I think I have about a fourth of a bottle from the first bottle I bought, which we'll probably review at some point. So I go to the counter, I grab both of them because I was ready to buy both of them if it was at retail, $40, great deal. And then he rings it up. He's like, $130 a piece. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was hoping he didn't know what it was, but he did. And I'm like, I can't do that. That is ridiculous. I wouldn't, at most, I'd probably go 60 and I probably would have bought one, but $130, bro. That's more than the barrel proof. That's ridiculous. So I just got the local bourbon there. We left there. And then the next day we headed home at about 8:00. And Sarah actually found some cool landmarks to stop by on our way. One of them was Rock City, which is this natural rock formation on top of a mountain, which was pretty cool, but not cool because it was 97 degrees. So it was very hot. Another one was Ruby Falls, and both of these places were in Chattanooga, which I'd never been. It was a pretty cool place to stop by. Ruby Falls is kind of this underground cavern, a cave-like structure, and then there's like a waterfall at the end, which is pretty cool. And then we stopped by this southern food place, kind of a hole-in-the-wall downtown Chattanooga, called Uncle Larry's, which was #1 on TripAdvisor for like the best food, and it did not disappoint. Very good fried fish, very good hush puppies. All the food was great, and very, very hospitable people. Forgot to mention, we did stop by another liquor store during the week when we went to what was it called? We went to it's also known as the Confederate Mount Rushmore. It's called what's it called? It's called Stone Mountain. Sorry, I have a hard time reading my notes here. Stone Mountain is the biggest piece of granite, natural granite in the world, actually. It's located in Stone Mountain. It's actually a national park and a city, kind of east of Atlanta. And that's kind of where we stayed when we went hunting down there in Georgia. We stayed east of Atlanta. We actually spent a whole day hunting down there. That was after we went to Stone Mountain. But I did find a lot of good bottles in this one particular liquor store. Found some 1792 single barrel and full proof, and also found a store pick of Larceny, $10 cheaper than the regular small batch, found for $20. So I picked up those bottles as well, and then we made our way to Stone Mountain. Pretty cool. There was on the side of the mountain, there's carvings of some Confederate generals, including Robert E. Lee. I think, yeah, Robert E. Lee and some other people. I'm not very good at history, so I don't know every name. But after that, we went to eastern Atlanta, kind of in the suburbs, and found some Eagle Rare. Actually ran into some Orphan Barrel for like $400. The I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't the Rhetoric. It had a snake on it. I think the most popular, or like the most easy to get one, Copper Tongue or something like that. I can't remember. But he kept it behind the counter, and I asked him, just curious, but I kind of passed on that. That's ridiculous. They also had some Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, which was overpriced as well. So I just got the Eagle Rare. And then after that, I think that's all the shopping we did down there. Got a lot of bottles. My takeaway from Georgia compared to Cincinnati, it's a lot of places, a lot more places, like more compact together, and a lot of better options when it comes to variety of bourbons and whiskeys. Cincinnati's kind of struggling in that, I think. I'd love to go down sometime and just drive around, explore a little bit more. I was hoping to find some more rarer bottles. I've been looking for some Stag Junior, E.H. Taylor, stuff like that. But did not find that. But bourbon season's coming up in the fall. Might get lucky, who knows. So anyway, on our way back, after we stopped by Chattanooga, that took a long time because we went through Ruby Falls, Rock City, and we stopped by one more liquor store out on our way out of Chattanooga. I can't remember what it was called, but we found some Smoke Wagon, the just regular small batch. Oh, also we found this. We found the Gold Label Smoke Wagon while we were east of Atlanta. I have to mention that. There's a lot of bottles I picked up, but got the Smoke Wagon. Got Dylan. I gave him a call, didn't answer, and then I texted him like, do you want a bottle of the Smoke Wagon? And he's like, hell yes, I'll pay you back. So it was like $35. Picked up 2 bottles. Then we made our way home, and then we realized we were still 4 hours away from Lexington. So anyway, on our way back we realized we were still like 3.5 hours to Lexington, so we decided to get a hotel for the night there. And kind of a blessing in disguise, Buffalo Trace, which is in Frankfort, was only about half an hour away. So we spent the night there. And then I took my wife Sarah, which I've always wanted to, take her to my favorite distillery, Buffalo Trace. We were kind of worried we couldn't get a tour in because it was booked online, but we got lucky, got on a tour, amazing experience. Didn't get so lucky on the bottles. So with Buffalo Trace, if you've been, it's randomized what they put out for the day. It's between 4 bottles of their rarer stuff. Either Weller Special Reserve, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, or the H. Taylor Small Batch. And that day they were giving out the Weller Special Reserve, which is very plentiful around our area. I'm thankful for that, but I was kind of looking for something different. So I didn't pick up a bottle so other people can have it. And then, that tour was amazing. We learned a lot of stuff about the history of Buffalo Trace. Got to have a tasting at the end. We saw the rick houses. It was really cool. I would highly recommend it. Me and Dylan did the same tour like a year or 2 ago. And they're actually expanding. So the tour that me and Sarah went on was a lot longer than the one that me and Dylan went on, which was really cool. And they're building more rick houses, what they were telling us, to try to meet the demand of their fantastic products, which is great. So hopefully by this time next year, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, all that stuff will be more plentiful, maybe. We'll see. I still don't think Blanton's will. But yeah, and then we drive back home. And yeah, that's pretty much our trip. It was a great time. Thankful to my dad. He always finances these family vacations. Thank you very much. And probably spend a lot more on bourbon than I wanted to, but did find a lot of bottles that, like I said before, could not find around us. So, yeah, that was our trip. Just a short little story on our trip to Georgia. We stayed in Gainesville. Yeah, I said that. Excuse my unprofessionalism. I didn't really come prepared when I was trying to get Dylan hooked on to try to do a podcast for you guys. It's been 2 weeks since we've done one. So I figured I'd do one by myself a little bit, talking about, what to expect if you're going to Georgia or just South in general. And yeah, I think that'll about cover it. If you want to see what we got down there, just go to our Instagram, Whiskey Warehouse, at Whiskey Warehouse. Make sure to drop us a follow. We greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see reviews on whiskey, bourbon, scotches, go to youtube.com/Whiskey Warehouse. We just uploaded a review on Glenfiddich 14-year Bourbon Barrel Reserve, which is probably our favorite scotch we've ever tried so far. Definitely check that out. And there's a few more coming up. And I'm trying to get with Dylan to do some brand new reviews, because the ones that we've been posting are backups, because I just got out of my busy season and actually about to hop into another busy season. So yeah, we'll see about that. And we'll try to get some more podcasts out for you. The next one will probably be on either Wild Turkey or on Suntory. So if you prefer one, let us know. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Join our Discord. This is where we record our podcast, and you can actually listen live if you'd want to. The link to those are in every one of our YouTube videos. We also have merch, also linked into our descriptions on our videos. Greatly appreciate that. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Cheers, guys, and have a great... it would be Saturday. Cheers, guys. Bye.